Good morning, Dr. Clendenning. How are you?
I'm good, the Michael Libercci. How are you today, man?
I'm feeling pretty good, brother. Feeling pretty good. I've got so much to cover today that I don't even know where to start, where to stop, and where to
The
finish.
beginning.
Um, so as you know, I've been on this pilgrimage to kind of sort of reset, right? The old constant learning path, you know, fill your head with the five greatest people you want to be, change the room you're in. Well, if you don't have any of that crap, you've got to do it yourself. So therefore, I'm using all those, micro learning hacks where I'm doing listening to the old and new podcast. I'm listening to military strategy. I'm listening to different philosophers, going all the way back to Socrates, man. I'm looking at watching snippets of movie clips. I mean, I'm doing everything, right? Everything under the sun, just to kind of get the wheel rolling. Because those of us out there, and you're a parent, you get it, busy schedule. I'm in the phase where running kids around a lot, and you sort of lose things. Like everything gets to be so busy, one activity blurs into the next, blurs into the next, blurs into the next. When you start realizing things are getting in the way, chances are you're overcommitted. So I had a good thought, right? In this time of adversity and in the time of clickbait and in the time of everything else, I had a good thought. I heard it was a Desmond Tutu comment that Ty Lopez echoed in a short. And he said, paraphrasing, if don't raise your voice, make your argument stronger. And I wanted to run that by you and expound on that a little bit. I have a tendency that when I'm trying to make a point is to elevate my voice tone. I make it a point not to do that too much because it obviously doesn't become impactful. But when I'm talking about, and when I hear make your argument stronger, dude, that kind of takes me two steps back, takes me all the way back to habits, takes me back to daily practices, it takes me back to decision making. It also takes me back to the fact that would I even be in a confrontation to begin with? Right? Instead of making my argument stronger, can I just make it by going by, oh, you're right, see ya, end of argument, right? Or end of conflict, or end of, you know, uh, I don't, I don't know, right? Like, I don't know that there is an exact answer to this, but when I say make your argument stronger, what do you hear? What does that do to you? What does that make you feel when you hear make your argument stronger?
Okay, so I love the fact that you're referencing Desmond Tutu. That's like you talk
I just
about
like
throwing it way
saying
back, and I'm like, you threw that one out there. I'm like, wow, really?
I like saying Desmond Tutu. I might just
Right?
start saying
It's
that
just
more
fun to
often.
say, but I honestly haven't heard anybody even use the words out loud in a long time. So I love the fact that you're on this historical journey because a
Yep.
lot of the great information you're pulling back to Socrates and Aristotle and Plato, um, the the foundational communication skills of humanity are still the same. They're still the same creature. So I love the fact that you're this particular. Okay, so here's what this brings up to me. You woke up the dog because I got louder, and I get louder because I get excited, not because I just get louder.
Strengthen your argument.
Yeah. So I said, but now here's where I will change that one. It says, don't raise your voice, make your argument stronger. I want to go deeper into that. I want to go a different direction with that one. And you hit on it. Why am I in the argument in the first place? Why am I in the argument in the first place? Now, there's one particular statement which you queued up, which is it takes two people to fight. You don't have to be one of them. You can simply just say, and you can disengage, right? You can disengage and you say, "Yep, you're good. I see your point. We're cool. Conflict over. That is a tactic in conflict management resolution. We teach that in our corporate trainings, right? That's one of the things that we talk about. So I look at make your argument stronger. You shouldn't be arguing. You shouldn't be arguing. Like I don't think that's the right word. I think it's sharpen your tools before you have the conversation, is how I look at this. Because if we're arguing, we're not in alignment, right? We are not seeing eye to eye. We have two conflicting point of views that we both believe we're right. And depending on the energy in the room, that's when we start to get louder, because we historically, in this masculine energy space, we believe that the louder I get, then apparently the righter I get. Well, that's not necessarily true. One of the things that I coach on all the time is the person that asks the most questions controls the conflict, is one of the things that I coach on all the time. So in making your argument stronger, the easiest way to do that is to truly understand the other side. We do that by asking questions, right? We do that by asking questions. So that's the stuff from the neuroscience perspective that I coach on, and you do as well. Is instead of arguing louder and proving my point better, let's find common ground. Let's use some of this basic conflict management resolution stuff. Now, what do we have to do to be able to do that? We have to practice this. This is not just a skill you read a book and you're like, cool, I'm going to apply that. This is going to be awesome. I'm going to take this book and I'm going to apply these concepts. No, you got to practice this. And you can't practice this in the heat of the moment. Like you cannot do it this way. No different than we know that, your one son loves football. He's in football right now. Life is all about football right now. How many practices do they have before they play one game, their first game? How many practices did they have?
Let's see. So far, it's 4 times. There's a scrimmage tonight, believe it or not. So 15.
15 before we even get on the field
15,
to play the
20,
first. Right,
4 days a
15
week,
to 20.
3 weeks.
True, right? And the same is true. Now look at the professionals. They start in spring training, don't
Hold on
they?
now. Each practice is 2.5 to 3 hours.
Aha, correct. That isn't just a 5-minute thing. 2.5 to 3 hours. So let's talk 30 to 40 hours of practice before we even get to step on the field as a little. He even fully padded up. Does he weigh 100 pounds soaking wet?
Close.
He's getting there, right? If he had a nice big jug of water before he got out there, he'd probably make it. But so to the point, look at the professionals. Look at the professional football players. They start in spring. Do they ever stop practicing? No. There's a commercial on right now that talks about Tom Brady always says his favorite championship is the next one. It's a mindset piece. That means he's working, like the minute he won the first one, this one, he's working on the next one. He's just practicing and practicing and practicing. It's the same with this, right? If you're in an argument, it's because you're not practiced. You're not polished. You're not sharp, and you're not in control.
So let's shift. Hold on. Let's shift for a second. And let's say instead of in an argument, we're in negotiation.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm negotiating for price, like a service, like getting closets done, I got a closet quote a while back, a laundry room and a couple of closets in bin rooms, just to be optimized. I can do the work myself, but wanted to see what a professional had to say. And commission-based sales. Somebody comes to your home, they come in, take measurements, sit at the table, draw things out, literally in front of you. You talk about it, they show you pictures, you go back up, it's back and forth and back and forth. And it's a whole thing to where, they're in your home for a while and they kind of get to know you. They're well-dressed, they're well-presented. I put a number out there, and then this person countered me and said, look, I don't get paid to be here. I'm on commission. Your price is lower than me making any money on this sale. And then I said, well, money is hard to come by. Keeping it is part of the deal. It's my job to save my money and get something. It's your job to provide a quality service and show me the value. My argument was absolute. My side of the negotiation was absolute. Money is hard to come by. I want a service, I want a product, and I'm going to pay X. My job is to keep my money. Your job is to convince me it's valuable enough to make this purchase. And I believe I was eye-opening to this person. I really was. Whoa. So this person was at, I don't know, I'm just going to make up numbers. My number was 5,000, 6,000. Can we meet in the middle of 5,500? It's not really the middle, but okay. Should we flip up and down for $2,000? Like you want to flip a coin? I'll go 8 or 4.
Right.
So you know what I mean? Let's flip for it. Anyway, so
That's it. That's a Jersey mentality in negotiation. We'll just flip for it. We're going to meet somewhere in the middle. Yeah.
right. So, on the side of negotiation, I'm comfortable. I'm sorry you came out here. I'm not wasting your time. My money and my work to have accumulated this money, whatever I'm doing is worth my time. You're in the business of running around town and, trying to convince people that, your closet system is worth the investment. And then to her point, said, well, you're kind of far from me. So do you mind if we just kind of continue our negotiation on, Zoom? I had to go. I couldn't be there for another 2.5 hours, right? I'm like, geez, I'm far from you. You choose to do this profession. You're saying I'm far. I understand I'm far, but a better way to handle that would have been, hey, can we, for efficiency's sake, on both of our sides, could we do FaceTime or can we do Zoom, right? Like, so there's some one-on-ones going on all over the place. So instead of just saying argument, when I say negotiation, now I gave an example of how I strengthened my side of the negotiation because money is hard to come by. I mean, of course, it's not hard to come by, but it is hard to come by. And just because you have plenty of it, keeping it is the other half, right? So when I say that, what are your thoughts from the strengthen your argument negotiation standpoint?
So from a negotiation standpoint, negotiation comes down to one thing: value, value, and value. Plain and simple, right? That is what it comes down to. It's not 3 things, it's not 10 things. It is one thing. It is all about value. So what Mike said was, I have this project. This is what I value the construction to be. This is what I'm willing to invest into that space. That's the value I put on it. Now, unfortunately for Mike and myself, I'm the same way. We are classic DIYers. Like, there is not a bloody thing inside the box that is a house I can't do myself. I have built them. I have built hundreds of thousands of square feet of house. Literally, I've had a lifetime as a builder. So like, there's nothing I'm afraid of doing. And so that's a problem for me, right? Well, I can do it myself, but I also know how much my time is worth. So the same is true, right? So we have to look at value of, here's what I think the project is. And we got to look at the value of, all right, if I did it myself, how much I can say, okay, let's, for an example, changing out the guts of a toilet, right? Getting in there. It's one of the things that I've done. Like, I know Mike's done it too. You change out the guts of the toilet. I can run down to, it's an hour for me to get to the closest hardware store. It's a $30 part to get the better one. I can get the cheap one for 20. There's a super high end one for 50, but it's about $30 for the part. Okay, great. Now, historical methodology would say it cost me $30 to repair that toilet, right? If you're following the math. No, it did not. For me, if I look at the value of that, it actually cost me somewhere in the realm of about $1,200 to fix the guts in that toilet. That's what it cost me, really, because I have a specific number, how much my time is worth for me to do a project, how much the part was, fuel to go get it. It's about $1,200 is what it cost me to replace the guts on that. My value on that, did I go ahead and do it? Yeah, I did it, but I would not call a plumber out to do it. I could have called a plumber, it would have cost me $250, but now it's a time thing. So you have to decide what the value is you place on it. Now, when Mike's talking negotiations, again, this is practice. So this is where the negotiation broke down into an argument. I hope you guys all heard it, because Mike brought it up and he even said there was a different way of doing this. So it turned into an argument, which means we lost value, and we probably will not, this particular contractor probably will not get the business, even though negotiations are going there, but they lost ground because they said, well, this is a challenge. It's really far away. However they came off, their value proposition dropped. Whereas Mike's value proposition has a bare minimum. It's $5,000, right? That's the number we're making up. But they just lost some ground in this. Whereas if
Right.
they'd come back and said, I tell you what, for efficiency's sake, that's a practiced thing. That's a sharpen the knife, sharpen the tool, sharpen the skills, practice the skill so it doesn't degrade into an argument, right? In negotiations, this is basic language of sales stuff. We teach this too. I can't tell you how many times I took the original course, which was the most boring course I've ever taken in my life. Language of sales. It's brutal to take that particular class. I took it like 6 times because there's some amazing information in there. And you'll hear it every time you get into a vehicle at a car dealership. Those guys train like hours a day. They train on sales language, how to speak to customers. What if you did that in your business? What if you trained on that for conversations with your kids? What if think about football practice? Right now he's got a kid playing 3 hours of football in stupid heat, full pads, so he can have how many minutes of game time on a Friday night? What, 15, 18 minutes of total play time that he's going to get? And he's going to put
Yep.
40 hours in to get it. So that's the practice piece. And I guess that's my overall theme in this. And that's what I hear from the Desmond Tutu quote of, you're right, it is fun to say it, of strengthen your argument is practice how you show up, not to respond. Like, don't have canned responses, but practice how you show up. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. It's not even canned response. It's almost like know who you are and know before you go in what
There
you're
you go.
prepared to do, and understand what you're trying to accomplish. And you don't know where somebody is in the buying cycle.
Think with
You
the
know, and
end in mind.
I always say that everybody and everything constantly needs to be handled. Kids, spouses, friends, everyone needs to be handled. Somebody needs to be selling something to somebody all the time. It's authentic, it's genuine. If you're trying to move through life and you're trying to be vulnerable, yet you're trying to get your way at the same time, at some point there needs to be a little bit of selling going on. I know that sounds a little strange, but it needs to be some selling going on. Convincing my kid to, finish summer readings, the same conversation beginning of summer, same conversation in the middle, same conversation at the end. It's like, there's a negotiation there. There's an argument there. There's some selling going on there. There's some accountability going on there. Now, I will say though, in this closet piece, this was cool. Instagram it's a major brand. Instagram they advertise on Instagram, get 40% off installation today. I know it was going on. You fill out a web form. There's a central processing hub. They figure out, your geolocation. Again, this is a major national brand. They have the money for this, right? So then somebody calls and says, okay, you fill out 2 dates. You can have somebody come out. There's an email, there's a phone call, boom, 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 boom. It's all kind of seamless, right? It all kind of glues itself together. They know their calendars. Their calendars say, okay, if option 1 doesn't work, what's option 2? It was a pretty seamless process up until the actual moment, the person was in the house. Now, if that was me, right, and I was doing this thing, and again, I feel like there was a couple of times where I've had some services done lately around me that better language would have communicated a little bit better, and a better front end approach for dealing with a person like me would have been a lot better. I gave this person an ample amount of my day. Well, all of a sudden, my day started to creep back in. Kids, calls, this and that. You and I had to have a meeting. Another meeting was coming up. It started. I gave it a good hour and a half. Right, hour and a half, middle of the day, thinking, Man, no practice. That gave me an hour and a half to 2 hour window before I even had to get kids practice. That I had another bank of one-on-ones in the evening. You and I were having our meeting. It was just uh, it just a lot more could have happened in the hour. This person could have been a little bit better, and yeah, little more practice, a little
Yeah.
more.
So there again, to me, it sounds like you did not find the value, right there, an hour and a half. So there's $750. If I'm doing the math in general, like in your brain, there's $750
Well,
you're not getting back that you could have been making. So
here's
there's a,
here's the other kicker. I'll give you the other kicker, right? When you talk about value, this you could have, and this may sound in the weeds, but it's not. We're talking about a closet nobody's seeing. I'm not showcasing it. I don't sell shoes. I'm not doing Instagram reels in there about how I look in my closet because it adds to me. Functional space, purely optimization, right? I still have builder grade shelves in there with hooks and hangers. Shit's falling off like it's a mess, right? But talking about backing and having backing to these built-ins, right? Well, if I didn't want the backing for an additional $500 or $600, I'd have to rip everything out and paint it myself. So already I'm doing my own work again. Already. And the value, trust me, the value of me painting a closet versus paying an additional $500, I'm doing it on general principle. I'm not paying for the backing of closets. I'm just painting a damn closet on general principle. It's spackle. Roll it up. It's a can of paint. Probably have it laying around. So
yep.
there was a lot to that could have been handled differently. And you were right when you said, man, sharpen that saw. Get into sales language. What was that reference? What was that book or video you were talking about?
Oh, language of sales.
Yeah. Who's it
Yeah,
by?
so that's a course. Well, geez, it's been taught by a lot of different people. I don't know who created that in the very beginning, but it was actually called Language of Sales. There's a lot of different ones. We have
I'll
a
have to
we
look
have a
that up.
version of it that we have as well. But I'm trying to even think of who taught it. The last time I took it, I've taken it from several different people. The last time I took it would have been in real estate, would have been when I was still in corporate with Keller Williams. So it would have been, I'm trying to think of who it was, but it was one of the trainers at that real estate company at the time. I believe were running the One Thing for a while. I believe they
Yeah.
were doing that one, but a lot of people try to teach proprietary sales language, and there's some truth in that, but the reality is, a proprietary sales language is it just integrates your brand, is all it is. But the language of sales, how we do sales, how we build rapport, how we ask questions, how we generally respond to people, there's a system, there's a methodology to it. In order to do it, and really the reality is to maintain the relationship. We talked about this endlessly. Of people don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. That's a Simon Sinek reference. But the other one is, people buy from you because they know, like, and trust you. And there's a book written way back when that we talked about that, and we've repurposed some of that methodology, and that's the stuff that we talk about.
Right.
So right now, Mike's in a space that he knows a person, he doesn't necessarily like them, he doesn't necessarily trust them, and he didn't see the value from this one particular person. Therefore, and this is the part that we teach all the time, is the transactional piece of this is the KLT part, is this transactional piece. It is unlikely. I'd put money on it right now. I'm not going to put enough to pay for Mike's closet, but I'd put money on it right now that Mike's not going to do business with this particular company unless they come all the way to Mike now. Like,
Yeah.
I personally, yeah, they've got to come back and say, hey, we're gonna give this to you because we want to demonstrate our value. But I do not see, from a negotiation standpoint, what I'm hearing is that Mike's not going to do business with these guys. They didn't
I,
show up in a way that he's just like, yeah, man, let's get that closet done.
I work fast enough that I could probably take the measurements, go to IKEA, get the same thing for half, right? Like, and we're just talking about I'm sure that
Well,
you
and there
could.
again, then you're doing it on principle, and you're doing it because dude pissed you off when it comes
Right.
right
And do
down
you
to it. He
think I
didn't show
care?
up the
Like,
way he needed to.
do you honestly think, again, I'm not showcasing this, right? I'm not
Yeah.
over improving any area for any reason. If I wanted to, I would. There are several areas of my house, like my kitchen, that are over improved. Why? Because that's the way I like to live. I like to put in whatever I want, however I want it. And I want what I want because it's either works better, looks better, feels better, or makes me feel better. So if
Mhm.
I want to go put in a $40,000 closet, I will if I want to, but I don't. Right? I'm A to B, right? On this particular element, right? I'm A to B. So what I'm saying, for the half day, might maybe take me to put this up and get my kids, get them sweatshopping them a little bit, doing the whole 9 yards. That you gotta really come strong when you're dealing with people.
And I would
You
bet you
have to
somebody
show
else.
me.
So here's an opportunity for our audience,
Yep.
right? Hit the comments of
What
you're
you
in the
do.
Jersey area. You've got somebody that's killer at closets. That's an amazing salesperson. You want a piece of business? Here's a piece of business laying here for you. Before Mike goes and does it on his own, reach out to us in the comments, like, subscribe, reach out and say, hey man, I'd love to interview for this. I'd love to show you the value. Like, here's a great opportunity for somebody that does this in our audience, even somebody that knows somebody that does this, to get them to show up. There's money on the table. It's sitting there, right? It's not 5 grand. We're making up numbers, but there is a job sitting there. There's an opportunity for somebody to show up and provide value right now. Like, it's right there. Jive in the comments. Mike will get back with you. You guys can schedule your Zoom meeting. And this is your opportunity to show up. Like, show up and train, be awesome. And then, hell, you do good, we'll put you on the podcast. We'll
Let's do
bring
it.
you out. We will promote the crap out of you when you do good. Let's go that way.
All right. Well, we get to talk about construction, man. This thing goes sideways. We are out of time. So, you guys, we are on every social network. Go to total-disruption.com. Look for us on all the social media channels. As always, Dr. Clendenning, thank you so much for your input. Super invaluable. So, on behalf of Jake and myself, now it's your